Thank you all very, very much for being here. Let me just say it. What a great thrill to be here. What a great thrill to see so many women who work in our city every day, elected officials, community activists, people involved with their community every single day support this campaign. You know, we started not all that long ago, and it's been absolutely exciting and I must say humbling to see the amount of support that we picked up all across Manhattan. First is Katrina Vanden Heuvel.
I'm proud to be here with so many extraordinary women, elected officials, community activists, and of course with Richard Aborn, who I'm proud to support for Manhattan DA, because I believe New York needs a gutsy progressive with a track record, a proven record of turning bold ideas into action. Richard knows there's something wrong with the criminal justice system when nearly 1 out of 3 African Americans spend some of their lives in prison. We can and we must, and Richard is dedicated to this, change our criminal justice system and paradigm and make it both more progressive and effective. While many of Richard's specific ideas are proven methods of preventing crime, what's particularly important is that a comprehensive, coherent vision is being so clearly articulated by a prosecutor. As DA, he will work to expand these kinds of programs and seek alternatives to incarceration for low-level, nonviolent offenders. But perhaps most importantly, we can trust Richard because he's been a steadfast progressive for his entire life, consistent on core key issues of substance like the death penalty and Rockefeller drug law reform. This is a moment when the city, our city, the state, our state, and this nation need a true progressive and experienced lawyer and leader to take the helm of the Manhattan DA's office. And Richard is the right candidate at the right time. That's why you have so many women here today. Thank you.
Former commissioner of the New York City Corrections System and a former state senator, among many other things. Catherine.
Thank you. Richard Aborn said he was thrilled to be here today. Well, we, as well as many women in the city, are more thrilled than he is that he is running for district attorney in Manhattan. And we all know how important this position is. Lead this office well into the next century. Now, that doesn't mean we expect you to serve for the next 100 years, but we expect you to be there for a long period of time to make a difference. And I say that leadership is the key issue in this race, because young assistant district attorneys will look to the leader, the district attorney, for their values. They will say, let's get convictions at all costs, or the tone will be set by the district attorney who will say, justice is what is important, and to be trained and skilled to protect the people of New York City, Manhattan, but also make sure that justice is done at the same time. Richard Aborn will provide that kind of moral leadership that office deserves. But I'm supporting him for some other reasons. I have worked with crime victims as the chair of the State Crime Victims Board, as probation and correction commissioner. So I've seen a lot of people go in and out of the system, and they want the system to work for them. And there's no better position than the district attorney of Manhattan to work on some of these critical issues. And whether it's around drug treatment and making sure it's available, or making sure we don't have a death penalty, to making sure there are reforms in the system. Someone who is so knowledgeable, who can work with the partners in the criminal justice system and bring about reform. Richard Aborn is that candidate who has the experience and the skills to negotiate the partners in the criminal justice system to bring about needed reform. Say today about Richard Aborn, about his objectivity, his values, his experience. He's so energetic. He will devote himself 24/7 to this position. They're survivors of crime, young people who ended up on the system because there were not programs in the community, people on probation. I know they would be joining with me today that we need someone who is tough and smart and fair, and that person is Richard Aborn.
Deborah Glick.
Of course we're here and we're thrilled that we're supporting Richard Aborn for Manhattan District Attorney. But this is a seminal moment in Manhattan's history. It's only once every generation or six that we get an opportunity to choose a district attorney. This is a borough that has always set the standard for progressive public policy. Richard Aborn will be a leader among district attorneys across the state. He's got a vision, a comprehensive vision of crime prevention, as well as ensuring that those people who commit crimes are appropriately adjudicated. It is in the interest of all of us that people who are violent criminals are prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and I'm confident that Richard will do that in order to make our communities safer. But he is also committed to the notion that there are many other strategies that are keenly appropriate in order to prevent crime. Because as Catherine has pointed out, when you're a survivor of crime, you have a lot of problems to overcome. The goal should be to prevent as many crimes as possible. And you do that with a comprehensive vision of what criminal justice means. And I think that Richard has been out there proposing a hate crime division, which is all the more important as we've seen across the country more and more hate crimes being committed. He's committed to looking at the way in which the criminal justice system deals with victims of hate crime. It's good to prosecute people who are batterers, but you have to do more. You have to break the cycle of violence by providing counseling and support to those people who are survivors of that kind of violence. Because Manhattan needs to set the pace for the rest of the city and indeed the state. And that means a progressive view of criminal justice that puts justice in capital letters. And I know that Richard will do that. Thank you.
We're next going to hear from Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal.
Pleasure to be here today among so many women to endorse the candidate for DA who will best serve all the people in Manhattan. Now, I met with all three of the candidates for DA, and I decided that Richard Aborn would be the one who is most appropriate for the job for a variety of reasons. Manhattan is arguably the most important seat for a DA, and DAs in Manhattan set the tone for criminal justice around the city and arguably around the country. We need somebody who is steadfast in his convictions. We need somebody who holds true to his convictions, who knows what he believes in, and who believes in a progressive agenda that just doesn't prosecute, but tries his best.
Councilmember Gail Brewer.
Woman for Richard Aborn, and I am a huge, respectful supporter of the current district attorney, and I am a supporter of Richard Aborn. Let me be specific. One of the reasons is prevention of crimes. In every discussion that Richard Aborn has had, he has talked about the I-95 route, how guns go from Virginia and other states, Florida up to New York, over and over again. And so that understanding will prevent. The second prevention that he understands, every single day, we work every single day in my office with the current district attorney in communities where there are drugs. Every single day. And the prevention in those communities of crime is not just police, it's police working hand in hand with the district attorney's office. He understands how to manage people, not just from the law firm that he's at, but I've seen him in difficult situations with community groups. Now, with all due respect to everybody who's been any other kind of profession, if you haven't worked with a non-profit volunteer group, you ain't seen nothing. I was head of the, as Deborah knows, the Manhattan and the National Women's Political Caucus. It was hell. Nothing compared to
running that organization. People have squabbles, power terms. He can handle it. The issue is management. He understands that quality. And the third reason I'm for Richard Aborn is you have to be very tough and fair at the same time. I stood at a subway stop with Mr. Morgenthau. He is a rock star. People from the African American community, which is really important to me, come up and shake his hands and get his autograph because they know he's fair. The most important aspect to me of a district attorney is you have to be just and fair, as Catherine and Katrina and others have mentioned, and tough at the same time. Richard Aborn can do that, and that is incredibly important for perhaps the most important office we are selecting this September. Thank